This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Hey, it's Lyla, and I have a bit of a problem. I can never just paint a model normal, because why do normal? So when I decided to enter Golden Demon, one of the world's largest and most prestigious miniature painting competitions, the question was obvious.
How do I make my model different?
And of course, different means more difficult. But creating a unique model isn't the villain of this story, nor is Games Workshop for that matter. It's actually time. I have 12 days until Golden Demon, and while that may seem like a lot, I also have to finish this model right here, as well as at least one, hopefully 2 videos. So with the stage set, let's get on to painting.
I'm painting Prince Duvalle from Age of Sigmar's Crimson Court, but with a twist.
Prince Duvalle wasn't cutting it for me, so I painstakingly kitbashed
Prince Duvalle and Velas von Fane into one model, which was a pain in the butt as the neck and the face are 2 different pieces. So before we have even started painting, my hour count is too much. I did all of this kit bashing before my 12-day countdown, so let's talk about the actually difficult part of this model, my desire to paint the model hot pink. Zenithal priming is very important on this model because magenta is rather translucent, making it easier to see what colors are underneath it. So building in the basic highlights, midtones, and shadows with zenithal priming will heavily show through my magenta and give me a head start. I'm covering her face with Silly Putty and using golden acrylic high flow in magenta and fluorescent pink for my base coat, applying it slowly and evenly. Whenever you can, I always recommend using an airbrush when you need to work with translucent colors. It just makes everything so much easier. Then I'm doing a layer of purple ink from below to add more interest to the shadows. I tend to go overboard on my white when I zenithal, so this will help pull back some of those shadows I lost previously. While it's easy to misstep in miniature painting, Squarespace can provide you with everything you need to create an online presence or online business. Create custom high-quality galleries to show off your work in any size, create one-of-a-kind items to sell on your website, or sell products without lifting a finger with Squarespace's print-on-demand features. No matter your dreams, Squarespace has the online tools to help you get there. To make your custom website, check out squarespace.com to start your free trial. And when you're ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/LylaMev and use the code LylaMev to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Alright, back to painting.
Airbrushing done, I'm starting with the most important part of the model, her face. The eyes are very important,
so I'm starting there in case I need to strip her face and start again. I'm painting her eyes and the areas around her eyes with my golden high flow magenta to act as eyeliner, then delicately adding very light pink for the whites of the eyes. You don't want to use pure white for the eyes, as we don't want the whites of the eyes to be the brightest part of the model, so any toned down white will work. Then I'm cleaning up my mistakes with my dark magenta. The eyes are very important, so I'm spending extra time on them to make sure they are even. The plan is to cheat a little bit and pretend like her eyes are glowing pink, so then I won't have to add in an iris, pupil, whatever. Point 1 for Lyla. Next is the skin, which I'm painting in a greenish gray to match the greenish silver accents I'll be adding later. I'm applying several thin layers to avoid clogging up detail and carefully applying paint as close to her eyes as possible while still leaving that tiny glint of eyeliner.
Have you ever had one of those moments where you're looking at a miniature thinking, I could be done, but if I could just get this one last little point of paint, then it would be perfect. Well, that was me. I said that the eyes were even, but the more that I looked at them, the more that I realized that they were not. Of course, on a normal miniature, the eyes are totally fine, but this is Golden Demon we're talking about, and if it's not impeccable, then it's not good enough. So after way too long attempting to perfect and match the two eyes, instead I ended up with so many layers of paint protruding from one of her eye sockets that it looked like she developed a horn. Unfortunately, the answer is simple.
A short scrubby brush dipped into a small amount of simple green to scrub away that side of her face. As long as you are careful not to allow the simple green to drip down onto any other parts of the model, this is a great way to strip just a single part of the figure. Then wipe away the excess simple green with a little bit of water and give it time to dry.
Okay, I'm not too concerned. While this isn't an ideal way to be ending the day, I still have 11 days left, and I think that as long as I really work and really focus, that I still can get this done in time for Adepticon. Alright, let's try the face again, and I am not moving forward until the eyes are perfect.
I'm adding shadows to the hollows of the cheeks and the side of her nose, and then I'm highlighting the high points of her face like the bridge of her nose, forehead, eyebrows, and cheekbones. The more quickly you apply paint, the more likely you are to build up texture. So to assure that my paint is applied silky smooth to the rest of her face, I'm going to give that paint some time to dry in between layers and go on to the next step and work on her armor. Like I said previously, pink is translucent, so to build up that vibrant pink I want for my highlight, I need to give it a lighter base. I'm adding white to my magenta golden high-flow acrylics and roughing in the highlights to start my NMM. The real trick to making NMM look real is alternating between light and dark. This is on individual panels of armor as well as pieces of armor that butt up next to each other. So when in doubt about NMM, just focus on the pattern. With my lighter base added, I'm painting over it with a less intense pink. This is an alternating pattern I will be using throughout the NMM. Go in with a very light pink to achieve opacity, and then covering it up with the more vibrant pink I actually want that area to be. Then I'm glazing that out with a very thin down golden high flow magenta. Then it's back up to the face to add more highlights and shadows and create further depth in her expression by deepening the furrow in her brow and the hollows of her cheek. You know how I said that I have a tendency to work too fast and not let my paint dry, and then that builds texture on the model? Yeah. Again, this is Golden Demon, so perfection or nothing. I stripped her face once again using the same technique as last time, but this time around I'm going to build up my base colors with an airbrush so I don't have to worry as much about building up texture. Alright, same thing as last time.
Okay, her face is looking so much better. I am extremely happy that I stripped her face. It sucked, but
The face I'm actually really proud of. It's not my best face ever, but it is good enough for Golden Demon. Now I'm on to adding in the details like white fangs, then glazing in pink cheeks and lips. Next is the greenish accents. I really enjoy using muted greens and blues for silver instead of just gray, as it is far more interesting. I started by placing midtone all over the area, then painting in the highlights and shadows separately. I prefer starting with midtones as that is usually the primary color of an element. If the item you are painting would primarily be shadow or highlight, then it would make more sense to start with that color. Working this way allows me to limit the number of layers I place on a model. Starting with shadows and layering up to midtones and highlights could take several layers all right on top of each other. But if I start with my midtone and then layer up my highlights and shadows separately, it greatly decreases the number of layers placed right on top of each other. Alright, I'm actually feeling really happy with this model. She's coming along honestly really great. I'm in love with the hot pink that I've done. However, her armor is looking a little matte, and I wanted to have that parade level shine. So in order to achieve that, I need to add more contrast. So to continue pushing this model, I'm going to use the Golden Highflow Fluorescent Pink. Then I'll layer it up, feathering out those harsh edges, and then go back over with an airbrush if I need to. This is not building up how I'm used to it building up. Do you see how the paint is building up? I mean, look at this. What is this? This is not feathering. Fuck! The paint dried so fast that I couldn't feather it out in time. And so when I was trying to feather it out, I actually just built up texture. I can't do this right now. So I've taken a couple days. There is now 7 days until Adepticon. I've just been really stressed. So now that I'm sitting down again and I'm looking at this model and I was about to film the wrap up, I'm actually looking at this model and it's really not that bad. I don't know why I was so upset, actually. With the imperfections that it has, it's not going to win Golden Demon. Not that I was expecting to win, but like I wanted to have a shot. I didn't want to put something in that I knew was going to lose, but I'm still so happy with the rest of it that I think that I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna try. This time around, I'm not even going to attempt to use the fluorescent pink mixed in with my magenta. It was a stupid mistake to assume that these two paints, just because they were from the same line, were going to have the same consistency. And I'm sure that the fluorescent pink is totally fine, and I will probably get used to working with it. But it was not the best time to test this on my very time-limited Golden Demon entry. So instead, I'm just going to continue mixing my magenta highflow, my magenta chimera, and white. And then I will go back in with my fluorescent pink using an airbrush and apply it like I'm used to applying it. Okay, you know what? I changed my mind again. Differently this time though. The model is fine. The model's going, yeah, it's fine. I've already come to accept where it is. That has not changed. What has changed though is the desire for my mental health, which is, even though I probably could finish this, pull a couple all-nighters, and be able to finish this in time for Golden Demon, the question is, would I enjoy doing that? And the simple answer is no. So I'm not considering this a complete failure, because honestly, I'm probably just going to strip this one part and then enter it next year. So this isn't the end of this project, but this is me choosing my mental health over this project. So the moral of the story is this: it's okay not to finish a model, to put it down and maybe never pick it back up. Hopefully, fun is always the core of why you paint, so keep that goal in mind when you're working. So, if you like what I do, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks so much. Go join me on Patreon. I'll see you all next time.